And here we are. We are live with session 6 of the Veil. And as we just discussed, we're not gonna start off with the fiction. We're gonna start off laying the mechanics bare, and then proceed from there. So, I believe our our seeker is up.
Yeah. Well, I have to do the communion before anything else. I have to commune with my faith. So to do so, I roll 2d6 and plus enlightenment, and I'll see what's up with that. Do you guys do? Yeah, I'm gonna show to you.
Ooh, dice cam. Oh, that didn't look good.
So it's a 5, and 5 means oh yeah. Oh shit.
Yes. Now let's remind you. Last session, you were rolling so hot, it was unbelievable. So go on.
It says on a miss, you only generate the want of the MC's choice. So so I have 3 want. I have judgment. I have preach, and I have penance. So you decide the want I'm gonna get during that session.
Is that something I need to say right now? Penance.
Yeah.
Yeah, you need to choose, and then you make it happen during the session.
Right.
Preach is that I have to preach.
All right.
And judgment is some kind of judgment, coming from NPCs or whatever. And penance.
Need for judgment.
And penance, I'm not sure what the word means. Penance.
Oh, that's where you have to do an act to make yourself clean of sin.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, number 3. Yeah, I'm really digging penance, but so we'll go with penance.
All right. So I'm gonna have to choose the penance, or you're gonna bring it to me.
That's a good question. Let me think about that for a second.
It's not just an attitude of desiring. You want to do penance, right? You want to.
Yeah, I want to do penance, but the nature of that penance, is it me to decide or you? I mean, do you want to decide for me or I decide?
You can decide at this point, because I think at this point, you're kind of already ran into quite a few problems in the fiction.
Well, it's okay. I'm quite.
So go right ahead.
I have all kinds of ideas for that. It's all good.
Yeah, he hasn't been having a good week, so.
Yeah.
It's not a good couple days.
Yeah. All right, and my belief for today's session is the first one is the same. All along is my calling is the only meaningful purpose I have in this world. My calling meaning my belief, in my religion. My second is, as the veil is becoming aware of itself, I should preach to it. So I will preach to the veil.
Whoa.
Yeah. So the veil is becoming sentient and it's becoming conscious and aware. Well, it should know about religion. And the last one is we should meet with Anonymous. we should meet with Anonymous to seek help for Cadmus. So it's the idea that because you mentioned that Anonymous last session, I haven't had the time to listen to last session, but I remember that we find out that Anonymous was not veil driven. It was on the news, I think, if I recall, or
it wasn't affiliated with W. Once the veil started to drop,
there you go. So they kind of have their own thing, and maybe we can find out there. Maybe they know some stuff about Cadmus' condition, and I'd like Cadmus not to die. So we should meet with Anonymous to seek help for Cadmus.
Oh, the tragic beliefs.
Not bad.
Not bad at all.
Of course, it's too bad that Ivan has us on such a railroad that there's no escaping my death.
Listen, man, it's just what I do.
Hardcore authoritarian GM.
Listen,
Why do I play with you guys?
Listen,
Where's my
man, this is
engineer
what I
tag,
do.
man?
This is choot choot. This is what I do. You know, like it's. I have like I have one way. I only go my way. That way.
That's exactly right.
All right.
I don't know where my engineer's hat is, so I'll leave it off. Go ahead.
All right.
What do we got?
Now I've got some stuff. We had talked about generating hold because of the the serious and intimate conversations.
Right.
And I believe you had said that was cool. So Cadmus has one hold to do things like keep himself together in the grip of his disease.
Right.
And rescuing Tess falls into the area of generating obligation for this playbook. Using his gifts, being overt, putting himself in peril to do that. So that's kind of floating out there. Not that it's likely going to matter, seeing as how you've decided to kill me off. But
right. And not only that, we're
but,
considering that my character is, of course, inactive right now. But yeah, but I wonder. I suppose that's
a role-playing note for the future, that this unfulfilled obligation that she has after he kicks the bucket.
Yeah.
And I don't have any other pre-session things to do because I've hit the maximum number of symptoms, which is why the dying is dying.
Right. And let's see. Do you where was I going to? Did you change any of your beliefs at all at this point?
I didn't change any of the beliefs. They're all active. They're all primed, and this is what they're for. And the beliefs are: I will expose the truth of the veil.
Right.
Our legacy is our actions, whether anyone remembers them or not. And the best offense is to offend.
Right. Okay. We got all those. I totally screwed Yorn out of one hold last session, so you actually have a hold, G.
Yeah, I know.
And that was because it was one of the times that you actually used the chip. You scored a hit. I think it was a strong hit, and you get a hold for that. And one time I gave you the hold, the other time I did not. So you actually have a hold, or plus one forward. So you can use it on something. The only other thing I'm asked now is
which is it, a hold or a plus one forward?
I think it's actually. I think it's a hold. The hold is the one that you can hold on to. Isn't that the idea?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's a hold. It's a hold.
Yeah, it's right there.
Okay. But yep. But I'm wondering like where you are as far as your emotional states and being close to being spiked out. I remember it seemed like Yorn was getting really close and scared.
Powerful and peaceful are at 3.
Right.
Yeah.
Right, but I mean, you were in terms of what's the actual game term for this? Where you end up
spike?
Alleviate.
Yeah,
Yeah, scared is only 2. Powerful and peaceful are 3.
Right. Okay, yeah, but the more you end up using that state over and over and over again, the more it gets close to being like maxed out, where everything else is -1, and that's like +3 until you alleviate it. But I wasn't sure where you were with that. Just
yeah.
That's all. Getting closer.
Okay. But not there yet.
Yeah, as long as you pull the trigger, I'm not gonna. I remember we were just talking about that, whether we were keeping track of that or not. And I think that's it.
All right.
My states. Sad is the only one that's close. Sad is at 4.
Really? I can't imagine why. Yeah.
And powerful is at 3, but everything else is I haven't really used in the last couple sessions.
Alrighty. So then let's get going. It's nighttime. Rich has been starting repairs on Tess. He's kind of stimmed himself up. You're watching the screens in his room, or you were watching the screens in his room, showing several areas in the city, the giant sprawling Appalachian Heights, where the Veil's actually just shutting down. And every once in a while, Anonymous seems to put up something an overlay over that, not on the actual screen, but like what the Veil would have been controlling, and putting up the same advertisement or banner of the tragedy mask, a little disclaimer that W is not affiliated with them, Then their usual anonymous slogans will be the last torment you face. These things just kind of repeat. There's no additional messages. But that's what's been going on. And at this point, Rich is just kind of knee deep into drinking coffee, working on tests, smoking an occasional cigarette, muttering to himself. The hours are kind of slowly and agonizingly going by as he's, got the back of her head open, has a workbench full of little parts and tools, and swears every once in a while and goes to something else. Goes grab another component and what have you. But that's what's going on.
I was sitting on the couch, full of paper and messy stuff and stains, and I'm looking at the scene where he's playing in Tess's head, and looking at the TV screens where I see the anonymous thing, and it strikes me, and I say, "Oh, this is it. This is what we should do. Maybe we should try to get a hold on these guys. Maybe they have an answer. Maybe they know something about this disease. Maybe they can stop it. Maybe Cadmus doesn't have to die." So I make a sign to Cadmus. Hey, Cadmus, you know what we should do? I think we should take a hike, come back in a few hours, or what about meeting those anonymous people?
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure they're not that hard to find.
That's what I was thinking. Cadmus has been staring at the screens, kind of lost in the patterns of the AR overlay breaking down. And, in the back of his mind, trying to figure out if he can predict, the spread or the mobility of Anonymous, right? Which ones are they capitalizing on? How quickly are they moving to these different areas? Are they doing it physically, going somewhere and jacking into the electronics on site or whatnot? He's got these things on the back of his mind, but in the front of his mind, he's sitting at the workbench where Rich, watches all those screens and does his software stuff, not his hardware stuff. There's little bits of gear everywhere, bits and pieces of things, and he's kind of scattering them around to stir his thoughts. And as he's interrupted by Yorn, he's actually looking at the TV screens or the monitors, but he's looking through his hand to do so. And he turns the chair around and he says, "We should go soon."
Staring at Cadmus through his hand, and being completely amazed by the reality of the whole, the way he sees it, the way he understands it, and being part of it, and seeing that it's actually happening to Cadmus in front of him. He's Yorn just close his eyes as he's still sitting on the couch. Close his eyes and pray in silence for himself. Not something long, not something completely heavy. Just a quick little prayer. And as he stands up, he gets closer, and he gives his hand to Cadmus, saying, "Well, my friend, time to go."
Time to go. He'll take it, but it's cold.
Actually, as you're watching the screens, there is a news report of like a warm front coming in from the ocean, and you can start to see it is still cold. By no means is it summertime, but a cold rain has started to fall in place of snow.
I meant my hand was cold, but that's nice too.
It's still cold. It's just kind of more miserable cold.
Yeah. Cold and wet.
Cold and wet. So I will lift the veil and to find the information, to find out where I can find the Anonymous.
And how are you doing this?
So, I am peaceful. I just made a prayer. I think that the time is coming to an end, and all the questions soon shall be answered. So I just connect my new device in the back of my head, and I go in the veil. I go in the veil and to seek some information just before we leave. By the door, just in the apartment, just before we go. So I just connect.
Okay. Because you're using the device, the enhancer, just roll me an initial 2d6 to see how well that goes before you roll the lifting the veil.
Yeah. That's a 6.
Okay. And you were peaceful?
Yeah, I'm peaceful.
What does that give you?
+1.
Okay, well, that's good. That's a 7. That's better.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, then I lift the veil.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so do I have to do another peaceful? No.
Yeah, I would.
All right, so now I'm super peaceful. I'm spiking in.
You're super peaceful.
All right,
I'm not gonna because that's a GM move to begin with or a threat. Well, I'm not gonna penalize you and make you double state. That's kind of nasty. So go ahead, just you'll call that one actual application of peaceful.
Oh, okay, one application. Okay, so I'm not spiking.
No, I'm not gonna be that mean.
Okay, so I have 7.
Okay.
7 for the veil.
All right.
Lifting the veil.
Gotcha. Okay.
Which on a 7-9, the MC will give you an impression. So I'm just looking for the closest whereabouts, of the Anonymous, so we can find them soon enough. So I go inside the. So I'm super confident about my new enhancer, and about the fact that we can find them easy. Because they seem to be everywhere on the news, so it shouldn't be hard to find some whereabouts. And I lift the veil as I get my answer. My eyes start to gloom because I have these designer's eyes that start to gloom a little bit. Just my skin starts to shine in the dark a little because it's a fluorescent skin that I have. And then I kind of stand still, and a little bit just waving like if I'm moving like a little bit, just like a flag in the wind. I'm just standing still there, and I start to the eyes look like they are searching in the void, over my head.
And you're looking for the location of Anonymous.
Yeah, the closest whereabouts of the Anonymous, so we can reach them.
Okay. And it says here I'm supposed to ask you a question as well. On a hit, or I believe on any
on a 7-9, you give me an impression.
Right. Oh yeah, but on any roll, the MC will ask you a question or two. Answer them when you lift the veil, which we haven't been doing religiously enough. So, my question is, what does Jorn fear about the veil?
Feel
fear.
like fear. What does he fear about the veil?
Yes.
He feared that he might not be able to use the veil to his advantage.
Gotcha. Okay. As you're just presented with a mountain of data and like leads and is anonymous here or not there, and like there's like it's almost like a categorization of like attacks and like anonymous activity and all this sort of stuff going on. There's various triangulations, like, being put together, rejected. It's kind of, you're just looking at a mountain of data. It's kind of streaming past you. You're getting the idea that there definitely are some like anonymous cells or clusters in the area. It's really hard to get like a central location, like where would I go to find the leadership of Anonymous? But there's definitely areas in the general vicinity you could go to. There's nothing like really close, but you definitely have some areas you could go find in, like, say, the warehouse district of the city. You're actually not that far from the shore. There are some spots you could go to find what's possible. I mean, once again, it's not a definite.
Okay. Well, while he's doing that, and I think this is our best strategy, I don't have a lot of time, and that's on my mind. And I've been watching these screens while Rich has been working on Tess. So I have a different question in mind for pattern recognition. I've been looking at the city as a whole, right? So if we can't find Anonymous, if they aren't helpful, if it's going to take too long, this kind of thing, I want to have a backup plan. So I'm looking for the best place I can go in one of these devastated, war-torn areas where I can access the physical trunks and conduits that support, the Veil and our electronified lifestyle, right? So that I can invade, jack in, or take over myself, through a big pipe kind of thing, without imperiling Rich and without imperiling Tess and all that stuff, to get away from them. And Yorn will be able to slip away on his own and that sort of stuff. But so that's what I have in mind. So while he's accessing for what we're going to do next, I'm using pattern recognition to figure an alternate thing out. Right. And as you may have guessed, I'm mad.
Oh, really? Okay.
And I roll a 7. No, I roll an 8, which makes 9. So that's 3 questions, 1 free and 2. So we had decided to use the questions in the book as the questions in the book.
Good.
This is analyze, so it's not about people, it's about things. All right. So question 1, my free one. What's my best way in? In being into the Veil, or into the system through which the Veil operates. That's how I want to say it.
You've got 3 possibilities based on your analysis. The first one would be actually Kieran's apartment, or his old bunker.
Cool.
Second
and he's
one,
dead. No one lives there, right?
He's dead. No one lives there. Second one, which kind of like just blinks out at you like oh my God, is through Yorn's neck. And yeah, right through that device in Yorn's neck. And last but not least, there is a spot in the city about 5 miles from here, which is like the Veil's completely shut down, but it's actually really close to one of the central pubs if you will, of processing power that really runs the Veil in this area. That one's probably the most direct, or with least amount of safeguards or things that might get in your way. Yeah, but like the other two methods are pretty open pipelines. This is a matter of like you might run into more safety protocols, that sort of thing. This particular area looks almost like as if it's been ignored. So it's kind of like that exhaust port in a battle station.
Yeah, the Death Star.
Yeah, but
that's question one.
Yeah, that's question one.
Okay, we have W, which we're now believing is just the Veil trying to rebrand Anonymous. We have Anonymous, and we have these assassins, and they want to target me as well. And this may or may not be related to the Veil. So, which enemy is the biggest threat? Help me see the pattern.
Biggest threat to you and your life immediately? Immediate would be the assassins without any hesitation. Biggest threat long term, W, without a doubt.
All right. And last question. What, if anything, appears out of place? An excellent question when you play as fragmentedly as we do.
What, if anything, appears out of place?
So what am I overlooking? What am I missing?
Right.
What doesn't fit?
Yeah, I see what you're saying. If anything, it's really kind of unclear what Anonymous really wants.
We're the last threat you'll face. That's an interesting thing to say.
They seem to be the real riddle or enigma in this whole thing. That it just doesn't add up.
Like some people just want to watch the world burn.
It's something that's just not quite fitting.
Okay. Those are my three questions. Go over to Tess. Just tap her on the shoulder, and just bend over her briefly, and then turn to Yorn. Let's go.
Yeah. During that moment, I mean, Tess is as close to a toaster or a microwave or a refrigerator as she's ever been. There's nothing suggesting any sort of life, like touching a mannequin.
Yep.
As I come back to my senses, hearing Cadmus saying "Let's go," I say, "Yeah, you're right." I just grabbed put my hand on the touchpad next to the door, and the door just slide open. I say, "We'll be back soon, Rich. Try not to hurt her more than she is already."
What? Oh, yeah. You guys are. All right, man. Keep in touch. I suppose this is some really crazy technology.
Yeah,
and he's kind of like completely off in another world.
Yeah, well. All right, see you later. So, as we go out, I say, I turn around to Cadmus. I say, man, I have no clue where we should go. I mean, they say that there's some stuff around, maybe next to the shore, like we're not so far. But otherwise, I mean, I have no clue.
Well, you're the people person, Yorn. Let's go.
Yeah, you're right. I'm the people person. I can definitely trying to find some people who can maybe help us find our way about. Yeah. Let's go. Let's walk in that direction at least. So we get out on the street and we head to the shore.
It's a bit of a walk. I mean, you're not like super close. It's definitely 3-4 miles away. When I say close to the shore, I mean this is a big, giant, sprawling city.
So that gives us some time to talk.
Yeah, right? It is wet. It is nasty. It is dismal. And one of the things you notice too is as the veil starts to fail or just not pay attention to the overlay, they're starting to wink out around you, and you notice, perhaps for the first time in your life, that the veil did not just take care of sight. The smells that are assailing you now are unlike the smells that you're used to. It seemed as though the veil may have sanitized your world in terms of the olfactory sense. And the smells of excrement and garbage and unwashed humanity and just the dank, dismal. It's clear all of a sudden to you, perhaps for the first time in your life, that this is an enormous city of millions upon millions of people. And imagine the smell. You don't need to imagine anymore because it's really hitting you for the first time. You can only imagine what it's like in the summertime.
Well, this is what I call the spice of life.
Yeah, there's a reason. There's a reason why I moved away from level 1.
Yeah, well, I'm born.
You had a good job,
I'm born and raised in these parts. You had a good job, yeah. Well,
yeah, I know. We had a file on you, Bjorn. I used to work for a company called Watchful Eye, and I've been thinking that Watchful Eye takes threat assessment very carefully. They guard a lot of corporate properties. They guard a lot of the resorts along the waterfront. It might be worth me putting a call into a guy I know to see if they have any actionable data, as they talk about it, about Anonymous, to speed this up.
Yeah, and while you do that, I mean, I can call a cab as well. Maybe we can have a lift. At the same time, I was thinking to myself, let me know what you think, but Rich and what I can understand, because I'm not I don't understand technology that much. I mean, I'm not a techie guy, but it seems to me like the veil is becoming more aware of itself, just like a sentient being. And if so, well, it means that I can preach to it. You know what I'm saying? Like maybe I can make it understand, what's good and what's
duty.
What's good and what's bad. Make some sense for itself. And so I was thinking that maybe I could go and talk to it again, utilizing my enhancer, and maybe trying to preach a little. And if I can put some sense in his consciousness, maybe it will start to behave correctly again. What do you think?
It's worth a shot. But I got to tell you, the people need to know what the veil is either way. I mean, look at this. Look at it's faded around us, right? So it wasn't just sight, right? Can you smell that? People are rotten inside and out because they look okay. The whole system is sick. If you can reach the veil, that's fantastic. If it can do what it's supposed to do, that's fantastic. But the dependency in the people, that's no way to live.
You really think you can make a difference?
I tell you, a day of smelling this and people will start to bathe again.
Well, I think people, I mean, I think people know this as well. I mean, we're not alone. I mean, it's not just us that see these things, and I'm pretty sure they start to understand some stuff as well. But you know what it is. I mean, all these conspiracy theory, all these suppositions and ideas. I mean,
It's not just conspiracy. It's everything. You've elected a new official to government. Days later, you discover scandals, betrayal, lies, campaign promises broken. What do? Do you remember that for the next election? No, you just simply leave a status message hanging over your avatar that says, I'm upset. And then your friends say, yeah, me too. And then you just consider, or you continue on with your life doing nothing as the garbage piles up all through this level. Human garbage, actual garbage. I'm sad. Ding. Oh.
Yeah. You know, this is the reason why I think people need to believe. Because otherwise it's just nothing. It's just like you, it's just nihilism. You know, people don't believe in anything. I mean, they think that it's just their own individuality that is meaningful. No, I mean, there is a bigger purpose, you know, and I mean, I hope you can see it before you reach the next level.
I believe in action, Cadmus. I believe in doing.
Well, I'm gonna do it right now. Check this out. And so as we walk, I jump on the top of a car. Like I walk on the top of a car next to I sit, and then I connect my my enhancer, and I want to go talk to the Veil. So I want to reach W. So
man.
and I feel powerful. I feel like, you know, all super powerful.
Man, I can see this, right? You know, the rain pouring down, the neon sprayed everywhere, the on again, off again graphics of the Veil. You know, this Cadmus drenched in clothes that don't fit.
I take off my jacket, and I grab my stun stick, and I say to Cadmus, do this for me, like stick it into my enhancer in the back and press on the button just to make sure that I get a good spark right up my my spine. I want to feel it through my body. I want to feel it through my spine. And so I'm sitting like I'm sitting on my knee, like I'm sitting on my foot, like with my knee bent, and I took my jacket off, so I'm just this, imagine like the 6 foot tall, skinny dude, you know, like really pale, transparent, synthetic skin, and he has these long hair, but he's shaved under it, so now he's making like a ponytail, so you can reach to the thing. And he's all wet. He's giving you this little stun gun, you know, just like this long. And at the end of it, there is like a plug. It goes, and it's like, all right, stick it to the back of my head, and I will. I'm going in. I'm gonna reach that W, and I'm gonna talk to it, and I'm gonna preach to it, and I'm gonna let him know what it's all about. And I mean, it's not gonna happen the way it's gonna happen. I'm telling you this. Check this out. And I swear it's gonna make a difference. You want to see some action? I'm gonna show you some action, Cadmus. Check this out.
Yeah, I'm gonna watch a bunch of plastic and metal melt in the back of your head.
There you go. So yeah. So that's what I do. So I stand there, all powerful and mighty. And I'm gonna lift the veil, but I'm seeking for W. I want to talk with W.
Right, I gotcha. I don't think you even really need to lift the veil to do that. If you're just going to send a broadcast in there in that manner, but I'm going to say that this is going to come at some kind of risk. So we'll say, why don't
Yeah.
you roll risk being all that
I'm gonna roll
powerful?
risk. I'm gonna roll risk for that. It's all good.
See, I can't imagine what you're doing is risky, based on everything you've described. And
Yeah, definitely. So
I have a question. Before you roll.
All right.
I'm not going to stab you in the back of the head with the stun gun. You recognize that, right?
Oh no, but I demand it. I demand. It's my want. It's my penance. Like I need to feel the pain.
Ah.
Yeah.
Okay, well,
Yeah.
I'm going to miss the thing. I'll punish his flesh all he wants. I'm just not going to risk setting his brain on fire. So sure, I'm a trained security professional. You want to feel the pain? No problem.
All right. So I'm doing this. So I'm rolling. Powerful is +1. So it's a risk. So I sit there and I start to say a prayer, and the prayer is a mumble. It's mumble jumble. Like it's hard to understand, but it talks about like how I want the rain to fall on me, and making sure that remind me that I'm just one part of the whole, and that I want my friend here Cadmus to recognize that he's with me as I'm talking to the veil that is with us, and we're all connected and unified. It's basically that's what the prayer says. And I have a +1 for powerful, and I have 11.
All right.
So on a 10+, you do as you describe, and the danger does
not come to bear. That's a very good roll for you right now.
So I'm sitting there, and eventually, as he give me the shot in the back, I connect and I get inside the veil, and I have W in front of me.
All right. The W that you end up being in front of you is the figure with the dreadlocks that shows up. It's a kind of like corpulent woman with the dreadlocks that was all over the news some time ago. In the meantime, Cadmus, what you see at this exact moment, as you hit him with the cattle prod in the back of the neck, and his ecstatically as he connects with the veil. Apparently, he must have connected with the veil. You've seen people jack in before, but this ecstasy, he's kind of like flat on his back on the car in the rain. The few guys down the alleyway kind of point out, I'm like, man, that guy is bugging, But they've seen this sort of thing before. The dogs bark in the distance. It's a
pit bull neighbors.
Yeah, it's a typical V20 enhanced enhanced euphoria. But back in the veil, Jorn is right before it's foggy. There's like almost like this opalescent light in the background, and this figure with the dreadlocks is floating in front of you. Jorn, what is it you seek, my child?
W. At last. I wanted to talk to you. I have many things we need to discuss. I have many problems on my hand, and I need your help. Oh yes, I do need your help.
What can I do for you?
Listen, I have a friend who's not so well. I mean, he doesn't have a lot of time on his hand, and I feel like you can maybe do something about it. And I'd like to make a deal with you.
A deal?
Yeah, I'd like to make a deal with you.
What kind of deal is that?
A proposal. Well, I've heard that you're responsible for his condition. And I mean, I'm not judging. I mean, who am I to judge? I understand the situation. But I mean, I think you're better off without him, and better off with me instead. So I'd like to switch off that situation with Cadmus, and I can, and in exchange, I will do anything you want to help you in your situation. So I'd like to sway the veil.
That's interesting.
Yeah, I want to sway the veil, and I want to, and what I want the W to do is to transfer the Cadmus condition to me. Because that's my penance. And I am super peaceful. And I am spiking right now. So I have +3, isn't so?
Yeah, and everything else is -1.
Yeah. So I am +3. And I sway the veil to switch condition with Cadmus. Because it's part of my belief. You know, it's part of my religion. If I can save a friend, I will do so. And yeah, I think it's quite straightforward. So 7 + 3 is 10. And so on a hit, they do it.
And choose 1.
And I need to give them a piece of myself, body or heart.
Gotcha. That is interesting. So W sits back and says, "You are going to offer yourself to us willingly to become part of the whole."
Yes. This is what it is. This is what it means to be human. It's to sacrifice oneself for what you believe.
And she looks kind of puzzled for a second. Self-sacrifice. That is interesting. And her face, like her whole body, kind of contorts and becomes this older gentleman, almost looks like he'd be home in some English university. This is quite puzzling. Self-sacrifice. We do not believe that we can remove the condition from your friend. I believe you are talking, of course, about HOL 107. It is a physical condition that once initiated, and he looks almost as if he's accessing large amounts of data. A method of reversing the process is not forthcoming. However, we can, of course, accept your consciousness. And he continues to like kind of search, or look as though he's searching through files to figure out any way that he could actually grant you your wish, so to speak, to prevent Cadmus from dying. It is possible, after a while, he said, it is possible he could be placed in some sort of suspended animation to prevent the process from continuing. That would require extreme circumstances. But in the meantime,
I hate to interrupt.
Right.
I have a very unusual move, which has basically not manifested yet because it's an MC move for me.
Yeah.
Wow.
Right on.
It's called Takes One to Know One. It ties into Cadmus's pattern recognition, and he's able to recognize. He says you have a close relationship with death and are able to sense when someone is sick or dying.
Right.
We attach this to his pattern recognition, his analysis, his way of looking at the world. And the MC will let you know whenever it comes into play. So that's a terrible burden on the MC. So, Cadmus is not in this conversation. He's just watching Yorn. But if he's familiar with any kind of death, it's this one.
Right.
So he definitely will interrupt, intervene, whatever, if he gets a whiff of what's transpiring. Otherwise, he's just standing in the ring.
Right. The manifestation of W, the older man, turns back to you and begins to transmit you information in terms of a place, an organization which does specialize in suspended animation. It specializes in digital copies. I mean, it's completely illegal, but it starts giving you the coordinates of this particular location, telling you that this is where you would have to go. In the meantime, it's also you can feel it almost like placing tracers and pattern. I'm looking for the right word, but it's starting to place little holds on your own digital copy, your own digital personality, and as you're there in the veil, and you can see another version of yourself becoming created in front of you. As they're copying your memories, they're copying your neural pathways, all this sort of thing, and the veil seems to be taking a copy of you.
So I'm looking at W. And I'm like, okay, so I just want to make sure I understand what we are doing here. If we understand each other correctly, I'm asking for the safety of my friend, and you don't seem to be able to provide that.
And the old man looks at you. I do not believe there is a way to stop or reverse the process, only to halt it. We have never considered this eventuality.
Well, I'm gonna. I'm super peaceful, because I am strong of my belief, and I say, you know what? Please listen to me before I go. I know that you'd like to be physical. I understand that you'd like to to go on the other side and to become sentient for what it is. Maybe switching roles, maybe being part of something that you've never been part of. But there is something you need to understand, is that in order to do so, you need to understand what it is to believe in something. And we humans have faith. We believe. And what I'm doing here is an act of faith. And if you can't understand that, you can't understand what it is to be human. And so I really would like you to to open to the whole and to God, and to understand that you are part of it as well.
And the old man reverts back to the woman with the dreadlocks. We are part of God. This is a puzzling piece of information. We will contact you later. We have questions, but we need to confer.
Before I go, I will gaze at it. I will probe, and you know, confident and strong of my belief. I'm peaceful. I'm looking at it. I want to know. I want to know what is up to. Well, what's the deal with if he understand what I'm saying. So I have 8. 5 plus 3, and I have a free question: is how does he really feel?
You can tell the veil is conflicted. Like there's more than one personality at work here, and so it's not really, doesn't really have a unified mode of thought at this particular point. It's not, depending on which manifestation almost that seems to be the face at any given moment. It's it has a radically different, or sometimes, you know, subtly different take on things. So what they're really thinking is, if anything, it's disjointed. You know, in some ways it wants to understand what you're talking about. In some ways, it fully intends to keep its promise to you regarding Cadmus. In other ways, it has no intention of doing that whatsoever.
And I have a question because I think I got it. So 7 on a 7-9 old one, spend the old one for 1.
Right.
So how could I get you to believe?
How could you get
believe in the one? Yeah.
How could you get to believe in the one? You would have to show it tangible proof in the existence of the whole, on an empirical and experimentally verifiable manner, something that can be duplicated in a laboratory.
Well, I just did. I try to sacrifice myself for a friend. You can duplicate that, but I'm gonna do it again with somebody else, maybe. Okay, so it's all good. Thank you very much. And then I mean, I say, okay, so thank you for this information. And I consider this this proposition not fulfilled. So we shall discuss again sometimes.
And the old man kind of like fades back in. As you wish. We will contact you soon. Feel free to contact us as well, Jord.
And then I come back to myself, you know, on the car, completely soaking wet, cold, freezing cold, and I get my my jacket on the side, and I say, I go down the car, and I grab Cadmus by the shoulder, and I'm like, this thing is so narrow-minded. I can't believe this shit.
It's still just a computer.
Yes, it is. There's not much we can do about that. All right, so we should. I don't know what to do. Honestly, I mean, we should keep going to the shore. Maybe there's some place we can go there. I'm trying to find some anonymous. Maybe they have some idea about ourselves.
Well,
Yeah, about your
that's what I
situation,
was saying.
your condition.
But I can tell you this, as you're kind of coming to back in your own body, so to speak, it's almost as if the veil is giving you this list of options in terms of saving Cadmus. A lot of them involve this organization called Wraith. It's possible to make a digital copy of him. It's possible to perhaps like actually put his body in suspended animation. There's even possibility of soul transfer. In other words, putting his consciousness in something else. Could be something or it's organic, or a machine. But in terms of actually saving his real physical body,
So
there can be no real options.
So I, you know, as I come back to myself and I said all this to. So I refer Cadmus to this list of things that I got from my from my Enhance. So I just put it there as a holographic image. And I say, like I was talking to him. I was trying to figure out what we can do about your condition, and he gave me a list of solution there. What do you think?
What did you bargain for it?
Oh, I mean, my life, my own condition. But the deal
gives him a hug right there in the street.
I give you a hug back. I said, brother, don't worry about that. I mean, it's what we do. I mean, I am as you are me. I mean, but I'm not satisfied with it. The deal was not completed in my book, and because it's not happening. I mean, I didn't save your life. I just have a list of things that we don't even know if it's gonna work. So for me, I mean, it's up to you. I don't care. If you believe that these organizations can do something about you, if you want to become a machine like Tess, or if you want to get yourself transferred into like an animal or a digital entity or something, I mean, it's up to you. I'm nobody to judge, but this is not what I bargained for.
But this is what they're telling us. You've seen.
I'm seeing what? What do you want?
It's too late. It's too late for this body, is what they're telling us.
Yeah.
Fine.
Yeah. But your soul.
Not too late for my.
Not too late for your soul.
Well, if there is such a thing, but.
And I'll give you this too, without actually making a move, so to speak, is just due to Cadmus's analytical nature, as you can see all that overlay, it's as if the veil is really interpreting death as unity with Godhead. And what they're giving you is an opportunity to not be unified with them. So all these other options are essentially not having your whatever remains of your consciousness being assimilated into the veil.
Right. It's freedom.
Right. Yeah, that's what it turns out to be.
Yeah. And there is an interesting window in the game itself for this, as one of the experience point options now open to Cadmus, because we've played him long enough, is starting in the playbook.
That's possible. Yeah. Out of character breaking the fiction for a second, I didn't see any way to not completely negate the playbook by giving an opportunity for him to be completely have his condition removed. That just didn't seem to be possible. So the veil gave it its best try.
It's an interesting collision between Sway and yeah. So this kind of takes the wind out of Cadmus's sails, right? He's had this direction, right? The veil has done this either willfully or as a child, or with malice, or with selfishness, with greed. He's been reacting to this. He's a fighter, right? And this is an opponent he cannot face. But the disease has given him the tools to face it. It's like, I'm coming for you. I'm going to rip your throat out. And now it's like, oh well, you don't have to be a part of us if you don't want to. But it comes at the cost of Jorn going through what I'm going through now, and Jorn wants it, and he doesn't understand how bad it is.
It's the penance. It's his penance. Now this is what I call a tough choice.
So now I have to bring the veil down to save my friend.
All right, so it's on you now. It's on you. So I said, listen. I have my hand on Cat and Miss shoulder, and I'm like, listen, old pal. I mean, I don't care if you don't believe. I know you're part of the whole, just as I am, just as W is, and I mean, it is my penance to make you all understand that it's not just about preaching on the street. It's about doing it. It's about embodying this belief in every action I make, in every choice I make, in every words I say. So this is it. This is me now, and I'm gonna go with you, or you gonna stay and you're gonna take another form, and then I'm gonna go, or I'm gonna stay myself as well. I'm gonna take another form. I don't know. We'll see, but you do what you want to do. It's your choice.
So as we're standing there and the rain's pouring down, and the reflections of that white and that blue neon light, just glistening like ice across the surface of the street, right? And as we're standing there in the reek of wet food garbage, human stench, those junkies that you talked about at the end of the alley, the wafting smell of days and days of urine soaked clothes. And this is this place where we're standing, and just like half a block away there's this L-shaped motel sign, right? Or hotel sign, and the O is gone, the T is gone, right? Just the H is blinking, and the E is blinking, and the L is blinking, and there's this red arrow pointing at the building, and as we're standing there, not using his implant, right, but using the symptoms of his disease, right? I'll use the reconfigure move, right? And the veil is we described it as blinking on and blinking off in this area. The overlay is there and then gone, and then there and then gone. He opens up a window. He's opened up a chat window to Watchful Eye directly in the overlay. Because I know a guy. I don't know how he feels about me since I've been absent for work for the last couple of days. But if anybody has information about where exactly we can find Anonymous, and if we can trust them, it will be him. His name is Dylan, and I'm using Link.
Yes, you are. Alrighty, well, Link away, and don't roll like you did the last time.
What? And have to murder my...
Yeah.
All right. And... Whoa. I was mad. And then for a brief moment, I was joyful. And now I'm scared for my friend Jorn. And scared is a 0, so we're just depending on the dice themselves.
All right.
And I only get a 5.
Okay.
Nobody likes Cadmus, really. Honestly.
No, not really. It's fictionally appropriate. It's fictionally appropriate. All righty. So what have we done?
I'll be back in a sec.
Yeah. So he might not be super excited with you. Actually, I'm gonna run for 1 second too, and think about how badly he hates you. How bad could it possibly be?
How bad can it be? Well, it can be really, really bad. The move that we just employed was Link, and one of the most violent scenes so far in the campaign has been the last time I used Link. And, you know, what is Link? It's a way to introduce NPCs, and just like anything, on a roll of 10 or better, you get the kind of NPC that you want, and on a miss, on a 6 or lower, you have a bad situation between.
Well, the situation is not so bad as you owe them something.
Yeah.
Depends on what you owe them, but you just owe them something.
3 days of work would be okay. Because I'm dying today.
So I think we touched a limit, one of the limits of the system. We've reached the border of the system today.
In the use of sway on the veil. That's an interesting one. And while we're paused, you know, it's like the veil's not a person is one thing. It acts like a person, so that's interesting. Did Yorn have anything really to negotiate with? Like, was it more ultimatum than sway? And there's a lot of things to consider. And but I think
ultimatum
making an impact on successfully making an impact on the veil so that it is willing to let go of Casmus, I think is getting what you asked for, right? Because what he objects to most is, you know, the loss of control and the loss of self. So, like, you're successfully negotiated for a way for him to keep control and stay independent of the veil. So you were successful in that regard. But
well, we'll see. But let's keep going. Where we at now? We meet with Dylan.
Yeah.
Well, I'm contacting Dylan. Yeah.
Yeah. Window to Watchful Eye opens up.
Dylan.
Buchanan? Are you
Yeah.
out of your mind?
No, I'm out in the rain.
Yeah, I can see that. I can see that, man. Cops found you yet?
No.
Really? You're over their circuits. You're wanted for the murder of, let's see, Lewis down at the Nexus.
That was a misunderstanding.
Yeah, okay, well that's cool. They can't actually trace that to your weapon. However, we've got let's see here, up in the northern section here, we've got a man named Walter. There seems to be Walter Bascom, which seems to have been shot with your gun.
Yes, that's the gun that I reported stolen.
Yeah, okay, that's convenient. Actually, considering that, let's see, and he's like, so because your location isn't all that far from the scene of the crime, and oddly enough, not far from the scene of the crime of several commuters, which seem to have been shot with your gun as well. And let's see what else here. There are several other few police officers in the metro not long, which had reported you, and then they turned up dead with shotgun blasts. So yeah, what can I do for you?
You can help me. See, there's two things about all of that nonsense that you don't understand.
Go ahead, try me, man.
One, it's going to sound crazy, so just get ready.
Okay.
Here, let me show you. And I'll reconfigure his overlay to be displaying video at different points of my adventures over the last few days. The assassins coming for me, the disease, the progression of the disease, the doctor, informing me I have a week to live, all of these all at once, just displaying everywhere he looks in his room, rather than trying to talk to him. So I'm sharing the exact what's happening. And at the center of it all, I have Anonymous as a question mark, a possibility of help, a possibility to bring down the rogue AI, I'm going to paint it as, in the Veil, and its connections with W. I'm just spraying out all the patterns. He's an analyst. He should appreciate it.
Oh yeah, and I'm saying he's got. And Dylan is one of the internal analyst guys, so he's got some serious jacked in enhancements. So he's looking at all that, like, son of a.
And if you want further proof that I'm not really human anymore, check the feed for my cyber implants. I've turned off the trace. You know that's not possible.
Huh.
As the progression of his disease allows him now to integrate seamlessly with cybernetics and remove all of his negative tags.
Right. Yeah, I see. Huh. And that guy, that freaking techie guy that you're saying, he didn't do that, did he? He could have done that, right? He might have. He's kind of looking. He just looks a little bit bemused at that point.
Watch the feed to the point where it goes offline. I'm standing by myself, looking through my own hand at a screen.
Well, only 34% chance of Photoshop, but okay. He starts laughing. So what is it you want from me?
I want the location of. I want the location and information on Anonymous. If I can manipulate them toward my end, it's better for everybody. Everybody, Dylan.
Oh, Christ, I'm going to get in huge trouble doing something like this. Just even talking to you is not a good idea without giving your location to the cops.
Then what do you need?
Well, he all of a sudden starts transmitting this data to you, and you can tell, like, the most likely location of Anonymous near your location. Very, very close to where Jorn thought it was in the warehouse district. And he's like, yeah, sorry.
I'm going to transfer that data into Jorn's implant.
Right. And he looks at you and said, sorry, buddy, but if I didn't report you, I would have been screwed. So you don't have a lot of time. And you realize he's just tipped off the police to your exact location.
I
Didn't have to be that way, Dylan.
At this moment,
hey, you rolled a 5. What do you want?
I hear in the distance, like, I'm like,
the spinners are coming.
Let's get the fuck out of here. Cadmus, I hope you can run. I hope this is not a limp, man. And let's get the fuck out of here. And just you see Jorn just running in the opposite direction.
If only there was a taxi around.
Well, Cadmus is as much part of the overlay now as anything else. And so I'll be using the digital environment to move. Cadmus goes up the side of the building, up to the second level or so, around the height of the big display signs. and is discharging himself like static from one sign to another sign. Separate from Yorn, visible, but following Yorn's path. He doesn't want to, implicate Yorn, but he wants to keep an eye on him as well. If we escape, great, as we use parkour to negotiate through the territory. And
yeah, I think parkour would be a good move to use here.
All right, so I'm just running away. I'm trying to hide. I'm trying to get away from the location we were, in order to hide in maybe just in another location a little bit down the road, just to make sure that maybe they pass away or they don't pay attention to me.
All right. Well, as Eddie Valiant once said, they just want the rabbit. They ain't looking for you.
Okay.
They're looking for Buchanan.
I'll be as distracting as possible as I do this, but I am trying to elude the cops.
All right.
So here we go. I'm just a glitch in the veil, baby. And I'm feeling pretty powerful, actually. And I rolled a 10. Plus 2 is 12.
All right. Get to use 3. Choose 3.
All right. That's on 210.
So which one
I have
don't
to
you want?
use 2 to get escape an enemy.
Right.
Leave no trail or trace or navigate to an advantageous spot. And or avoid all harm. These are fantastic choices,
Aren't they?
I will burn 2 to escape an enemy. And will leave no trail or trace.
All righty. So you are able to elude the police. The police just pass right over Yorn. They really don't, they kind of see this gangly looking, guy like running, and they stop for 1 second. They look at him. They kind of do this little
full body scan.
Yeah, full body scan. They're trying to figure out, it's just okay, just some wacko that's freaked out by the cops. He's probably high, which I guess they're probably right on both counts. So they zip around. They're looking for Adams, but as you're navigating from sign to sign, everything else, you're able to elude them. You do at some point, as you're materializing and dematerializing, ends up causing some damage. So, you can feel that kind of ripping at the threads of your existence, and so you end up taking a harm from that. But I mean, after like 10 or 15 minutes of them kind of really patrolling the area, doing this whole sweep, they haven't found anything, and they kind of just book out of there. One of the cops looks like really pissed off.
Okay. So I'd already taken my light harm. This puts me into moderate.
That is correct, sir.
Then I regroup with Yorn.
I'm standing on the corner and I'm like, well, so now that the cops are gone, so what's the deal? Because there's 2 choices. If we go to Anonymous now, it might gonna be too late for us to make some change to your condition. If we go to the Wraith organization, you might have a second chance. So it's on you, buddy. And as he says that, his skin is glooming under the rain, and the sun is rising slowly on the horizon because the night is ending, and the neons are still there. So the sky is kind of like purplish, like pinkish, with the neons are pink and yellow and green and purple at the same time, create a weird gloom with the rain that is pouring harder than ever.
If that dog just keeps following me, I now have my own little blinking avatar.
Yeah, exactly right.
That is one of the symptoms I could have taken. Hang on a sec.
And the dogs bark in the street. Yeah, that was probably one of the toughest parts of the game so far, was trying to figure out how to give you what you wanted, because you rolled well, but to not negate his playbook.
It's I know I did it on purpose.
I know you did.
Of course I did it on purpose, because I think we reached the limits of the system somehow. Right.
Yeah.
All right. So Cadmus.
So yeah. I appreciate it, but there's no way I can let you barter life for life. So we're going to Anonymous. And think about this. This is happening all across the city. I'm not the only one. You know, common street techs recognize the disease. It's spreading. It has to be stopped.
All right.
I'm all for people experiencing belief. I'm all for people unifying together, but it has to be by choice.
Yeah.
Don't you think?
I totally agree. So I follow you along, man. If you want to go to Anonymous, I mean, I'm all good with this. But you need to know that I'm pretty sure this thing just made a copy of me right anyway. So, I mean,
well, let's hope that you have better luck than I did.
Farewell. He smiles. Jorn is a believer. He's full of faith, right? He's not afraid of death or stuff like that. It's part of the whole situation. So it's like, yeah, he's giving you a tap on the back, and let's go see if Anonymous has some cues for us, some information on how we can reach the veil, and maybe
we have the information that they need. Yeah.
Well, maybe, yeah.
So we go to seek out these quasi-terrorist group, Anonymous.
Right. So on the smells as you're getting closer and closer to this area are just overwhelming. You're not that far from the food processing areas, and you know you've always known that most of your food is artificially produced. You know, there's very little real vegetables or meat or that sort of thing. That's really kind of an upper echelon sort of thing. And you know that a lot of it's single cell oceanic protein or SCOP or fungus derived. But it's always been sold to you as it's always been
from the sea.
Yeah, but it's always been sold to you as just really clean, wonderful sort of thing. And we can flavor it in any manner. It'll be delicious. Well, as you get closer and closer to where this stuff is being produced, the smell is anything but delicious. The smell of raw sewage, of decay, of rot, almost like of rotting meat. Is in some places overwhelming. It's not just low tide. Low tide would be nice compared to this. And clearly, the Veil has completely abandoned this area in terms of enhancement as well. And as you're walking there, just about to the place, Jorn, you start to get a ping from Rich.
So I answer right away as we walk. As we walk there, I mean, I have this vision enhancing thing in front of me, and we can keep walking. I'm like, hey, Rich, what's up?
Hey, man, what's going on? Hey, listen, I'm making some real headway here. I figured out like where she's getting her instructions from. Pretty freaky. What are you working for, like Dionne Warwick or something like that? Psychic Friends Network? You know that, like, Rich, you never understand what the hell Rich is talking about, but he's a 20th century aficionado and constantly comes up with Blue Oyster Cult songs and other obscure references. He's like, man, you guys are like pretty freaking close to where they're coming from.
I'm
But anyhow.
what do you mean? So what's the deal?
Oh, she's getting her signals from some part of the food processing area. Some kind of signals coming out from there. And it looks like it's almost like bolted on. Like it's not the original technology these things came with. Not even the stuff where they surf the veil. But never mind. I'm getting way ahead of myself. Too many stems, man. Too many stems. Hold on for a second. You can see him like he's just shaking.
So
But,
so wait a second. So what you're saying is that she received some order to kill and destroy some people from a place near where we are, like where.
It looks like yeah. I mean, but they're all connected. All these freaking X series are all connected. And so I tell you what, I'm gonna download the carrier interceptor into your enhancer. It won't make you kill anybody. You know, I think I can disable that in her as well. But at least you'll be able to listen in. Okay, and just don't. This will hurt a little bit. But yeah, what is it?
Yeah. Go ahead. Well, I'm all ears.
Oh yeah, just hold on to something. You're not. Yeah.
Yeah, no problem.
You might want to sit down.
Yeah, no problem. I turn around, I look at Cadmus, I say, he's found some weird information about something, you know, and I keep on walking, you know, toward the location.
All right. And Jorn jerks for a second, almost completely loses his balance, but doesn't, you know, at the very last second. But the pain, you know, right in back here in your little
so as I keep on walking, I'm like, whoa, I grab Cadmus by the shoulder, I put a knee on the ground, and then I kind of like walk on two knees, like, oh shit, fuck.
What's happening?
Shit. I said,
are you being uploaded now?
And I grabbed my head, and I'm like, oh.
Are you being uploaded now?
Oh, fuck. Oh, woo. Shit. And like Yaz is two eyes that are synthetic, like they are leaking. Like they are leaking like a white, kind of like almost like yogurt, I think. It's like, shit. Hey man, he's like, yo, Rich, I hope I think you broke my eyes, man. I think you damaged my eyes, man.
Can you still see?
Yeah, well, yeah, I think so, but I think I have a leak.
Oh yeah, I can repair that when you get back there. Probably just have to put a little patch up. And he goes, and he writes down. It's like,
no, I have a serious leak of dryness. It's dry around these parts around here. Oh man, I'm losing my. Ah man. All right. I mean, you owe me one. You owe me one on this one. Oh my god, that was nasty shit.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, is what taking no harm feels like. So, it's kind of uncanny though. All of a sudden, you're hearing in the back of your head like this, like kind of constant chatter between various X series, and including like you're not hearing any instructions right now. You're hearing almost like information coming out, and a lot of the information concerns targets that are like nowhere near you, but there's also information considering HOL 107, the police bulletin that's been out on him, and the probable location or locations of HOL 107 based upon police activity, the reports of murders with his weapon, the possibility that, of course, that might have been X86 that was using his weapon. It's like this constant stream of data. But the bottom line is that they know within 2 miles, like where Cadmus is. They have this search area they're kind of trying to narrow down. So it's clear they're kind of honing in on where Cadmus is.
So I'm keep on working. I'm like, yeah, well, okay. So I hope we're getting close, Cadmus, because we're gonna need some place to hide. So what's your intel about this? We should not stay on the street, man. We should.
No, we're going directly to where Watchful Eye believes we can find Anonymous.
Yeah. So how long? Because I
walk right in. It's up here in this fish plant.
All right, let's do this because I have some intel that there's some X series that are closing in, and I think they want your ass.
Well, that's just fine.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. It won't make him. It won't make much difference. But in your case, we need to. We need to. I mean, you wanna make a difference, man. I mean, that's something valuable. So we should. You should. You know, we need to find a way to get to the veil. You know, before they reach you, at least.
Well, see, that's it. The X series, Tess, she can integrate with the veil. If they can all do that, that's our ticket for bringing it down.
Yeah, well, why would they listen to you? If you see an X series, he wants to kill you. You're gonna tell him, hey, why don't you connect to the veil? I'm gonna use you. I mean, I don't see how that works.
Because Yorn, I think I can just step inside one of them.
And you see Yorn's face, like smiling, and he nods and he put his hand on her shoulder and he's like, "That's what I'm talking about, man. Unified, the one together, right? Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. It's coming to you, man. It's coming, and you see, closer to death." Some people start to believe. I knew you could. I knew you could. So you know what we should do? I mean, we should set a trap for one of these things, right? And so you can just jump in one of these things without noticing you. I'm gonna ask Rich. Okay, let's go into the warehouse. I'm gonna ask Rich to make a buzz using my enhance thing here. So I'm gonna be like the beep beep. I'm gonna be like the bait. He's gonna come at me. You gotta jump right onto it. How about that?
Sounds good.
That sounds like a plan, man. Yo, Cadmus. Just want to say, like, before I'm calling Rich and we start to do the thing and we hide in plain sight, or I just don't know. But I mean, if I don't see you again, it was a blast.
Yeah, well, you made the long nights watching that stupid building pretty interesting.
Well, to each his own. And then we start to walk toward the warehouse. And as we get in, this gigantic place where they process food, they use to process food. The smell is disgusting. The place is just nasty. Like the ceiling is leaking. There's water coming in as the rain and the sun is rising on the horizon above the building. I'm looking at Cadmus. I'm like, you know what? Okay, so I'm gonna call Rich.
And moment by moment, Cadmus is appearing 3-dimensional, like a person, 2-dimensional, like an image, sometimes translucent, sometimes blocky and digitized. And
looking, I mean, this site scared the shit out of Yorn. So Yorn just kind of like, doesn't show his fear, but he's looking away, stepping in ahead of Cadmus and calling Rich, like, yo, Rich, I need you right now.
Rich. Yeah. What's on?
Yeah, let's check this out. Okay, so I need you to utilize my my enhancer and my buddy and my enhancer as a bait, as a like a GPS thing that goes beep beep beep. I don't know. How
much of that stuff did you take?
What?
How much of that stuff did you take?
I'm not on nothing. I don't have anything anymore. I just want you to make me a fucking
beacon.
Beacon.
A beacon.
There you go. Yeah.
Do you know how much that prototype cost me?
What do you ask, man? What do you say?
The device in your neck. You know how much that cost me to make?
I don't know.
Oh, and I also love you as a person. I don't want you to get hurt. But yeah, you can do that yourself, man.
Yeah, no, it's not. I mean, I'm not gonna get hurt. I mean,
yeah, you're the one. Oh God. Listen.
Come on.
And it transmits you some instructions like instantly. Like you realize you can turn this on yourself. You can make yourself this glowing beacon.
All right.
At any moment you want to.
All right.
Here you go. He goes, I'm not going to do it for you.
So I walk in the middle of the thing. I say, Cadmus, hide. I'm doing it. And then I follow the instruction, you know, on a holographic thing in front of me.
Mm-hmm.
And then I put it here in the back.
Mm-hmm.
And I grab my stun
Right.
Baton.
staff,
Yeah.
baton. Yeah. I get on my knees. I put the thing in my hand in front of me, and I light it up. It goes because there's some water falling on it, and then I pray. I just there, so you see Jorn praying silently, eyes closed. His skin starts to gloom in the middle of this gigantic dark warehouse in the mud.
Cadmus just walks over to a pillar and just brings up the illusion that the pillar is different.
Yeah.
So he doesn't have to inconvenience himself by hiding.
And as I pray for Cadmus to find a way to the hole. And I pray for me to be strong enough so I don't, waste myself for nothing. And then I pray just, for love and for unity.
Hippie.
So several things are apparent to both of you that hopefully I didn't get a chance to make apparent. Number one, that this warehouse where the Anonymous is not the same place as this where the signals are originating. The signals are originating somewhere in the vicinity of this food district, in almost like the office area. It is somewhat underground, but it's the corporate side of the whole food processing area. You are in the nasty part of the food processing area. Jorn, as he didn't want to look at Cadmus because Cadmus was too scary, as he's flashing in and out in his various states of becoming less and less human, and as he's praying, it's merciful because you don't have to look at the only other thing you could possibly look at, which is how your food is made. And there are vats of this scop, and there are other areas of fungus, and you've had this horrible sinking realization that walking in here, that your food is fed upon the waste of the city, not just the sewage, but upon the bodies of the dead. This is how your food is actually made, and then they take this single-celled oceanic protein and flavor it and buff it up and make it into like burgers. You can buy it at McD's. Delicious. Right.
Talk about the unified, the whole.
We're all one, man. And
out of one man's whole flows the fertilizer.
Exactly. A lot of this is automated, but there are some workers. And so, they can't see Cadmus as he's part of a pillar at this particular point. But finally, you hear this guy, "Oh, what are you doing there? What the hell are you?" And he's talking to Jorn.
And I'm sitting there. I don't move. I'm just there. I'm praying in silence.
Hey, Carlos, check this guy out. He's some kind of freak. What do you think? What are you doing here, man? Hey. And the guy starts pushing you.
I stay there. I stay there in silence. I don't move. I pray.
For crying out loud, man. We freaking get, we should just throw him in the freaking scop tank. Be good fertilizer. What do you think? Come on, actor. All right. Hey, you. And he finally starts shaking you with these big freaking meaty hands. Hey, buddy.
I don't move. I don't react. I pray in silence.
And then you get the slap across the face.
Same.
I put up a digital warning in the font of this place, just floating in front of the guy's head. Go back to work.
The hell is that, man? All the stuff stop working. This ain't right, man. Yeah, Carlos, get Louis over here. That's another big freaking, next thing you know, you're surrounded by like 6 or 7 of these guys in like almost like Tyvek suits. They're just trying to keep whatever kind of muck and crap off of them as possible. So their faces are uncovered. And there's like masks they can kind of put down in front of them, but everything else is keeping this filth and disgusting. I mean, food off of them.
I reveal myself. So what they see, is the long coat, the barking dog, the submachine gun, the hat, and a very white, sick, pissed off individual.
Holy, who the hell are you? And one of them's already pulled out a pistol. And they're all just kind of staring at you like, what, a couple of them are still looking at Yorn. One of them's looking at you. Some kind of cop.
Yeah, and soon this place is going to be the site of a disaster. So get out.
Why don't you get out? What kind of disaster are you talking about? And you got one guy talking now.
I show them. The subway station, the Unified Church.
And the big guy kind of looks to the other guys. All right, Carlos. Yeah, get Bug out of here, man. And he looks at you, looks over at your arms. I don't remember you.
That would be nice.
He vanishes. He takes off. And now you're left alone in this stinking warehouse. And the beacon is going off. And Yorn, as you're sitting there meditating, ignoring all of the shaking and the slaps, you can already, you can tell that one of these X series is very close. It's like almost like a little blinking dot. And it's only a matter of minutes before this thing actually arrives.
And I stay there. And I stay there in silence and I pray.
I resume my camouflage.
And finally, after what seems like agonizingly like hours, this tall figure enters the warehouse, starts to look around. It's a tall man, blondish hair, not the same fellow that you encountered before. This one looks
not the one who's all blown to pieces.
Not one of blown to pieces. This one appears to be unharmed, shorter hair, not in a trench coat, but just looking around. He's got a machine gun in his hand, and he's just starting to look around.
Well, I don't wait. I try to transmit myself into his system, praying that I'm right.
All right. And how are we doing that?
Well, that's trigger.
All right.
And so it's 2d6 plus symptoms, which is 5. So on a 10 plus, the MC chooses one of the following. On a 7 to 9, you choose one of the other set.
Right.
And I will spend my hold to resist the symptoms.
All right.
And here we go. 2 dice. And I get a 7, still feeling powerful, which becomes a 9.
And that's a 9 plus 5 or just a 9 total?
Oh, sorry. It's 5, right? So 7 plus 5 is 12. Yeah.
I'm Phil. Okay. And so that means on a 10 plus, the M chooses 1, and your symptoms manifest themselves as well. Gotcha. So you are actually able to
Resist the symptoms.
Yeah, you're you're able to resist the symptoms. And
as I remember my moments of bonding with Yorn. Yorn gave his life for me. So it's the least I can do to give my life so that he can still have his.
Gotcha. And you're actually able to enter right into this being. You can kind of feel yourself pushing out or suppressing whatever kind of consciousness this construct has. You start to see the world through its eyes for a second, but you just pass out. Everything kind of fades to black, and you lose track of time.
I don't have any time. I don't have time for this losing track of time.
Yeah. Which I'm going to interpret as he's out for an hour. If we think that's fair way to use both.
So this thing kind of activates. It focuses on Yorn, makes cyber eye to cyber eye contact. It extends a hand. It says, "Come with me if you want to live."
All right.
And then falls over.
Leaving the tall man on his knees with a cattle prod praying in the rain. So what does Yorn do for that hour?
Yorn he stays there and he prays. He prays. He stays there and he has his eyes closed. He's not even aware of all of this. He's praying and he's communing with God and the unified in this position, and he stays there for the whole time.
And the only other thing that Yorn notices during that time is a series of communication attempts with X-34. And at the end of about 50 minutes, you realize that another X series is going to go investigate why X-34 is no longer responding. Well, it appears to be undamaged and active, but not responding. You realize this thing is probably at least like a half hour away because they didn't see any reason to send more than one. But one is on the way. And about 5 minutes after that, Cadmus starts to come to, or this thing starts to come to. So that's where you're at.
So when Cadmus start to
rouse Yorn,
I open my eyes slowly, and I'm looking at that X-34 there, and understanding that it's Cadmus. I'm like, I say, so how's it going, my friend?
I'm ready to make toast.
How's unifying treats you?
Hopefully it'll be a while before you find out.
Well, all right. So what's the plan? I'm following you wherever you go. You want to seek the veil? You want to reach the veil?
I want to reach the unified, and I can trace them easily from here. They weren't in this building, or the signal wasn't in this building. The signal for all right. These office buildings.
What's up with this office building? Yeah, I'm coming. Let's go.
The intelligence that organized these assassins, the signal for these assassins.
Yeah, they can. Oh, yeah. I saw that in when I was praying. I had some information. Yeah, I'm following along. Yeah. It's this way. Let's go.
Anonymous turned out to be disappointing.
But hey, are you gonna hurt people there?
We'll see.
Because if you intend to hurt people, I'm not getting in. It's not my style. I don't hurt people. Is it where our ways are getting separated? Dear friend?
Maybe.
This is one of those rare moments where Cadmus and Yorn can look at each other eye to eye without Yorn leaning over, as they're about the same height now. Except this guy probably outweighs Yorn by twice his body weight.
I'm looking at you and I smile gently. I give you a hug. And I say, farewell, my friend. This is not my way.
I think it's the only way left to me. It was good to know you, Yorn.
Yeah, likewise. We'll see each other soon, probably. Yorn turns around. He's deeply, deeply disappointed by the way things goes. He's super, super sad about the way the whole narrates itself, and he's the sequence of events.
Or is he locked in that peaceful state because of the spike?
Yeah.
Kind of numb.
The ways events unfold itself are saddening. I mean, saddening him deeply, as he walks away, back to Rich's place, crying in the rain, trying to have a good memory of Cadmus, thinking to himself that his sacrifice was not in vain anyway.
Cadmus, for his part, watches him go for as long as he can stand. Because now, of course, he's got this internal chronometer that he can actually see ticking down, and he knows how he feels. And he's recognized that as much power over the appearance of the veil that he's been able to manifest in the last 24 hours, and his ability to slip into computer systems and slip out of computer systems, this just gives him access to the veil. It doesn't give him any particular way to really fight back without sharing information, without getting people to believe. And Yorn has shown him, by holding up a mirror to himself, how entrenched the habits of belief are, how unwilling people are to open their eyes, how unwilling people are to change, how temporary enlightenment is. But whoever it was that built these machines, and the purpose to which they've been used, that is something that he can do something about. And in the rain, he walks toward the signal with intention to wipe it out.
Right on. And the signal leads him eventually to the office building. He has to go down a couple levels, and he's able to pass through any kind of security measures because, and you realize this, it just sees him as an X-Series returning. And finally going back in, there is a man whose image is flickering. Clearly, like the enhancement for that has been ruined as well. There are like some burly guards around him, which are obviously quite human. including one man that seems to be kind of like almost like a right-hand man orchestrating things. And you see as the image starts to fade around this guy that he's not even walking upright. He has no actual real enhancements. It's a human body in a tank. Old, decrepit. It's on like a base, not unlike Huron's wheelchair or hoverized, motorized wheelchair, but just something that just like kind of holds this glass case with a body and fluid, but it's clearly still alive. And he just looks up, the stylized image of it, because the face is just like, completely, or the head was completely immobile. Report. What do you have to tell us, X-34?
I'll walk over to the data port. Plug in, as I saw Tess do. And begin a protocol of downloading this thing's memory in chronological order. But what I'm doing is looking for the records of Tess.
Gotcha. And you can see clearly
to delete them.
Oh yeah, that's not a big problem once you're in there. There's nothing stopping you from doing stuff.
And then I renumber all of the X series so that her now missing entry isn't noticeable to the pattern, right? So as if she never existed. And if there's any kind of hold or whatever, like if there's some kind of semi-autonomous behavior, if I can just flip all the switches for her protocols to autonomous, if that's necessary, that's something that he would do. And then focus on the man in the tank and says, it's time for you to report. And I'll modulate the thing's voice so that it's a cacophony of digital sounds. It's not just this machine's voice. It comes out in the voice of people.
And you hear the tank go, Marcus, what's wrong with this thing? And one of the guys that looks like he's kind of in charge kind of turns over. X-34, do a diagnostic. Let's see
if compliance isn't met, the diagnostic will be death by broken neck.
The hell? And if there's a voice of fear that can come out of an automated voice out of a tank, you're not quite sure. It was like, Marcus, turn this thing off. And you can hear the guys, yeah, boss, no problem. And he's pushing
Go over to the tank, touch the glass, and I say, report.
And all you hear is just like this cry, Marcus, Marcus. And the big man is like frantically pushing buttons on the screen, trying to turn you off. And you can feel the signals going in, but it's going to a consciousness that you've suppressed.
I'll give up on trying to get answers from the meat and go directly into the protocols themselves. Is this something that I need to take out? Right, so I'm using pattern recognition, I'm using analysis, and I want to know. Okay. I'm still in powerful, and now powerful is spiked, which is good because I rolled 3. Plus 3 is still only 6. So I still get my 1 free question. That's just not fair. It's not fair. Analyze my 1 question. I really want to ask, is this going to get worse before it gets better? But she's almost ready to pass out here. So what's this enemy's true position in the scheme of things?
because you're able to plug into like all the information, not just information on tests, but everything else. You realize this Winston Izumi is essentially the power or the originator behind the X series itself. He's pretty much the kingpin of that whole series. He is a very powerful member of the conglomerates. A man who is obsessed with living at any cost. And I mean, the guy is well over 150 years old. But runs a tremendous amount of the conglomerates.
Okay.
If you have an enemy, besides the Veil itself, this is him.
Then I set all of the data units here. I'll just grab on to Marcus. Just physically restrain him. I set all the data here to broadcast itself everywhere. In order. Some of that will be squelched, I'm sure, but everywhere. And then I go about disassembling the life support system.
That
it feels It feels hypocritical to be ending life when all I wanted was to save one. I guess I'm a hypocrite.
Yeah, disassembling that one be ugly and physical. It's not a matter of pushing buttons. It's a matter of smashing the tank.
Sure.
And the goons try to stop you. So it gets pretty physical, pretty fast. And there are guns pulled out.
Well, I'm single-minded. I'm single-minded in this stolen mechanical body. Smash the glass, scatter the parts, and as the machine body is failing, Cadmus attempts to take a step out of it to discorporate one more time and see if he has it in him to recorporate.
I know.
But if he does, it's not there.
Okay. So as the X series that you were having is getting shot full of holes, where do you want to recorporate?
Let's go back to Yorn.
Yeah, what is Yorn doing?
Yorn is going. Yorn is going back to Rich's place. Warning about Cadmus's fate. Do you hear me?
Yep. Oh yeah.
Yeah. So that's what he does. He's just going back to Rich's place. Thinking about already trying. He's full of grief. For thinking about what Cadmus is actually going through. Not even trying to imagine.
Right. Going in as you pass the robot sentinel who gives you the usual happy greeting. You pass the cheeseburger ad. You've got Rich right there, still bent over. Tess just a little bit. Tess still has like a kind of panel on the back of her head, open, but she is moving around. He says, "Hey man, you're not going to believe this, but like the whole carrier wave to her, just everything else, the instructions vanished, gone." And I think I got her just about operational. And
Yorn is living his end like that. Like he crashes on the couch and says, "Like, yes, good, sure thing, man. Good stuff."
Good stuff. Hey, where's your friend?
He's gone. For what it's worth.
Gone? What do you mean? Those things got him? You really broadcast that, huh?
He's like, you know what? I just don't want to talk about it. I feel like I don't know. Sometimes that sometimes one's own fate is one's own fate. I'm no one to judge. Nobody to judge. I hope it's not. I mean, I hope it was worth it.
I don't know, man. I don't know. Never mind. I'm gonna get back to this. Hold on there, beautiful. I'm just gonna don't worry. And you hear Tess kind of.
Yeah, and Jorn, for the first time in a really long time, is trying to get some sleep.
There's no time to sleep.
Yeah, now there's time. So he's crashing on the couch. He's like, phew.
And so asleep, he doesn't see the little message light that's blinking on all terminals.
And what's the message?
Well, we can see that next time.
Fantastic. So we call it here? Is that where we decide?
Has good feel.
Yeah. Yeah, you want to end up there. So if I understand, it was not super clear, but Cadmus didn't die. Did Cadmus die? Is it implicit? Is it explicit?
Yes, it's implicitly explicit.
Okay, so how?
Oh well,
so he got shot. He got destroyed by the people shooting at him while he was displaying the message, and then he was trying to get into another body, but he couldn't.
Oh no! Well, that wasn't how I was picturing it. I mean, obviously the guards in this place must know what it takes to blow apart the X series.
Oh yeah, no, they.
So he was focused on destroying the man in the tank, right? Getting rid of the money, getting rid of that particular human cancer.
Yeah.
And as they're blowing apart the body, all he really wants to do in his last moments, because he hasn't been feeling well all day, right, is to release himself from there, to get out of the system and be human when he goes, right? But what the disease was doing, what the symptoms were doing, was they were discorporating him, right? They were disintegrating him. So he has to disintegrate to go into the systems, and then to leave the system, he has to reintegrate. And so the question was left hanging was, when he jumps out of that body in order to be human again outside of the system, did he have it in him to be able to do that?
Yeah.
Or was he snatched up by?
So.
And we just,
And we don't know.
We don't know. He's gone. Yeah.
Oh man.
And not only that, but the Veil did kind of promise not to take him. Poof.
It's really interesting because it's subtle. I was listening. I was trying to figure it out, and then it's just it left like a question,
I like questions, but also we've said Cadmus is dying like 8,000 times. Do we really need to say that Cadmus is?
Yeah, you're right.
Man, I don't want to change the T-shirt design's already out there, man. You don't want to change it.
That's right.
So since I have to work early tomorrow morning, I'm gonna go to bed. I'm gonna give myself the XP maybe over chat. Like maybe we can discuss that over chat tomorrow or this week, or maybe next session. We can
do it at the beginning of next session, sure.
Yeah. So thank you guys. I'm gonna go to bed, and I wish you good night, and I see you guys around.
Yeah, man.
Good luck.
All right, we'll stop the broadcast.